Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, Botanical Beauties, is starting to stitch the cherry blossom. So I'm just popping on my hoop just to give my piece a little bit of support. Now quite a few of you mentioned that binding the hoop with some fabric is a good way to stabilize it even more. Definitely. I picked up that tip last year when I did a course with Nikki Franklin, who is a embroiderer. But I must say this hoop has an indent. So this internal ring pushes back into the blue and really holds it really well. I could certainly bind it as well, which would probably add even more support to it. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. Now, I've gone rummaging and I've found a nice dark pink. I think the Sue Spargo variegated thread would be a definite. And then I found a couple beads. They're unusual colours together, but I think they'll work. We can always reassess that once we get a few, stitches in place. The only other thing I haven't looked for is something in the chocolate tones for the branch. So what I'm thinking is we might start with a little bit of this and have a think about the outline and what we're going to do. Now I have a bit of a black outline happening, so I certainly don't want to lose the effect of that, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. Okay, let's try maybe a little bit of satin stitch over this curled petal. Close together, we can spread them out a little bit. I will lose a little bit of the black. The knot is in the way. Come on, get out of my way. I've been looking at these little flowers drying, trying to decide how I approach the stitch side of things, and I've decided that I'm not going to stitch the pale pink. I just want that painted effect to be there. So I'm going to just focus on highlight stitches for these ones and not total stitched. But we'll see how we go. Maybe I'll change my mind. It can happen. Once you sort of start seeing your pieces come together, you can head in different directions that you thought you were. So I'm just sort of cluster stitching here, like satin stitch in a little area and then leave a little gap so we get that other paint colour coming through. It's just about highlighting the edge of the flower. So what I think I'll do in this video is focus just on the one flower and maybe come down to here and do a little bit of stitching as well. So I think that colour is going to be perfect on the edges and curled over bits and pieces. Don't you not, for goodness sakes, already. Now we'll come into the centre. We've got this stamen thing we need to do. So let's do a pistol stitch. Is that going to do it? I think a sort of, the top of the cherry blossom has like this little stroke. And I think a French knot is not what I'm looking for. So I might just do a straight stitch, but then come back with a little stitch at the top like an elbow. I think that would be, yeah, that's closer to the shape. They do have a bit of a curve about them, which is not going to be easy with a straight line stitch, but at least the top of the piece is, yeah, that's a better look. Now I have black ones in behind. I also have the pen, so I don't need to go totally thick with all of these stitches, I don't think. And I think maybe I look for some other colours, so to keep building up the look in there. I think that'll make the centres more interesting. I could even do some black stitched ones, I think. Yeah, I like that idea. I've got black thread beside me, so, and I might even, I'm thinking I do a finer thread. I don't want it to get too chunky. And then down into the center of this flower, we need a little bit of depth of colour, I think, as in like a burgundy. Okay. Okay, happy with that. They're good. That's a go. I don't think the pistol stitch with that colonial knot or French knot at the top, however you wish to do them, is the right thickness for it. Okay, so, oops, that disappeared, that little stitch. Now I might just bring my thread up here and we'll finish the edge of this up here with a little bit of this dark pink. Trying not to totally cover it in because we want to see the paint underneath. Go to all that effort to paint. And I'll just bring my stitches up there. Yeah, I like that. It's like a smudge of darkness. I can still see the black. Yeah, I like that. That'll work well. Now let's just thread that back through. I've got a little bit left. I've got a little bit of thread left, so I'm just working my way up to this edge here. And I thought I might as well stitch here. I'll probably get 3 or 4 little stitches as we sort of work this curved edge back in. Yeah. Been thinking about a cutting table. I still haven't really furnished, other than what the builder put into my craft room, my studio at Burham. I've got my big table that I currently have in my room here in Brisbane. That will go up. But then there's still space for something else, like some other surfaces. And if I could come up with a surface that also had storage, and I thought instead of just putting another table in, I thought, well, maybe I could do a cutting table. So I've been looking online at kitchen islands from IKEA. And their website, I hate to say it, is just a shocker to use unless you know the exact words and you seem to, I don't know, hit dead ends, and you know they've got more stock than that. I'm just going to bring a bit of black in. Yeah, so I've been, oh yeah, I've been looking at what I can, but I really need to actually go to IKEA and have a walk through their kitchen area, because I sort of got in my head a bench that is a nice height so that my back doesn't bend and break, which is a kitchen bench height, if if not a little bit taller, but we'll see. Can always have it raised, but yeah, and even two of them back to back to get the depth. I wonder if I can do a knot this time. Let's see what that looks like. Wrong needle. Yeah, it's the wrong shape. You've got to have that little stroke. I wish I had some cherry blossoms I could go and see. I'm wondering if it's a little seed or something. I'll have to Google that. Yeah, it's got to be that little line or nothing at all. Just yeah, so I'm thinking along the lines of, even I was looking at butcher blocks, but they're probably a bit small. I'd probably need 4 of them. And then if it's got storage underneath, or at least some shelves that I could put some baskets or something. Yeah, I'm thinking along the lines of that for my space at the end of this table. So that way when I'm in the lounge looking back into my room, I don't just see this big black table. I see a piece of furniture there that the table sits behind. So it'll give the table a little bit of privacy. If we have guests over, they won't really see the mess that's on my table. They'll see this kitchen bench thing that's in my head that I haven't found yet. And that will just give me a surface to plan projects on, or sit projects that I'm in filming mode on. And sort of a nice feature for the room as you look in as a stranger, wondering what the hang goes on in there. And then from behind that, I can have all sorts of mess and no one will see it at a glance. So I'm sort of thinking it's going to be, and I wouldn't mind a chair in there where I can just sit down and flip through a book, or, because I find I take everything to a lounge and then I get called away, and then I come back a couple hours later and I've just got stuff everywhere and books, and I'd love a space within my room where I can just sit quickly, have a flick through a book, and then if it sits on my chair for another time, that's okay. I think I'm going to just stitch those black little stamens on one side. I'm not going to go all the way around. I think it'd start looking too uniformed. Can always add them if it doesn't look right at the end, but I think less is more, girl. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. A kitchen bench with storage underneath that can be used as an end to my craft table, my working table. Yeah, I like that. So I might have a look for a port winey tone thread next. There's my colours. Something that's a bit moody and dark in there. What's this? This is a mess, that's what this is. Look at this guy. Yeah, he's got potential. And I'm thinking maybe some French knots in there, just a few. And then maybe a couple beads to bounce a bit of light around. So I've got three strands. That's just what came off the piece. That is a DMC 902. I haven't done anything with the Suspargo threads yet. So where that stitching has happened with the black, I think I need a bigger knot. Let's go the French knot. Colour looks great. Need a better needle. This has got a bit of a shape to the top of the head of the needle, which is not helping me slide the thread off. Such a bodgy embroiderer. Okay. See how it's giving me a bit of grief pulling it through. I need a more straighter top to my needle. It's a little curved needle. Goodness me. I'll change that once I settle into stitching the rest of it. I'll get the right tools. If you're wondering why there's three little knots, can I put a bit of that thread up here? See, my needle is threaded. Let's go up the top here and add a few little stitches just to, oh, it's raining. We had beautiful days, a bit of a break from all the rain, and now there's, I've woken up this morning and it's overcast and showery, and away we go again with more rain. I'm pre-recording this, of course, so for you Brisbane girls, you'll look out the window and going, that's not the case. There we go. What's that thread? Where have you come from? Oh boy, oh boy. We've got a technical issue here. What's going on? So yeah, as I was saying, I would love to get to IKEA and just have a wander around and see if it's even plausible, see what they look like, and then I can get it out of my head if it's just not going to work. You know, when you've got something rolling around in your head and you're getting more and more in love with the idea, but you really need to go out and have a look what's actually on the market, because it might not even work. That's what I need to do. I've got a thread that's hanging in the back there that's causing a little bit of grief. So let's just snip that off. Okay, I'm happy now. Let's rethread. Yeah, I'll definitely be using this port wine just to put a little bit of depth into shading, and I can get a few lines happening, I think, with this. Yeah, I like that. Might even judge over here. There's no paint on that corner of that petal, but I think we could handle a little extra darkness over here. Just a couple little marks, and then I'm thinking we'll come up over this ridge to maybe a split back stitch, just to start giving us a bit of an outline. Doesn't have to go right across the whole top of that turn, so we do have the black pen there to assist us, but we can certainly do a few little stitches sporadically across that edge, I think, just to help show a bit of light and shade, and then come down here. So that's how I'll work the curls. Just sort of blend. I really like that dark stitch. There we go. Beautiful. Happy with that. Where else can we go from there without ending it off? Maybe we do a little bit over here. A few little stitches as we come into this curled edge. My husband's going to be really impressed with the idea of going to IKEA. He's going to think that is a pretty ordinary idea due to the nature of that place. Okay, just a little shadowing there. I think maybe the Sue Spargo thread could come out for the ones that are a little bit lighter. Put a few stitches around. I just don't know. Come on, thread the needle, girl. This will be great. I can stitch cherry blossoms. I wonder if I could do a few little strokes too into the center. That might add just that extra depth, that extra little bit of color, but just make them little. Yeah, that's good. So no stamen, just little itty bitty strokes of color back into the center. It's more detail, isn't it? Okay, so that'll work up really well. I really like that color. So let's have a look now at the Sue Spargo thread and see if that's, so they're a definite, but we need a little bit of pale. So let's grab a little bit of Sue, and because it's variegated, I don't have to think too hard, and I'll get some shading happening. But I don't want to paint them in totally. I want these little flowers to still feel a little bit light and floaty. So maybe spots like that where I've got a bit of dark, I can do just a few little stitches. Maybe that's how I approach it. Oh, I'm so pleased I did the black lines, because I'm stitching within them now, so they're becoming more of a feature. Oh yeah, look at that variegated thread. Oh. I'm just thinking. got a bit of a sheen about it too, so it's actually giving my petals a nice little luster. I'm stitching into this corner where that dark petal is turning over on itself, and I'm putting a bit of work in there just to sort of make it look like there's something going on there. Yeah, that's great. I don't think I should go down into the center with this. Let's just pop up and have a look at what that would look like if we put a stitch in there. No. Keep it moody in there. I think that's really going to make it pop. So let's come over here now where there's no paint really other than the white. And let's just put a little dusting of Sus Fargo in there, I think. Yeah. Just a little bit. Less is more, girl. Less is more. All right. I might dodge now over. No. How are we going for time? How are we going for time? Oh, plenty of time. I'm going to keep working the Sus Fargo thread, I think. And then have a look at those little guys over here. I've got time. I'm going to go down deep. That thread of Sus is turning dark on me, the variegation. So we're going to go deep into the petal to get rid of that tone. I just pop over here. It's a bit dark still. And as we come out with a bit of light thread, I can then come back through there. There's the light thread. It changes colour reasonably quickly, which is good. So now I've got light thread. I'll head back up where you would expect to see light bouncing around. Up through this edge. So it's looking like I'm just going to smatter around threads and stitched. This guy here is a lot darker, this flower, so I might go heavier with the stitch. This little guy, he's feeling quite good with the little bit of stitching here and there, but I guess it'll all, time will tell. But the Sus Fargo thread is a definite. It's getting a bit dark again. So let's scoot over here and put a few straight line stitches, as in an outline only, over here. As we head down into that crevice of the petal. Go. So it's a similar thing to painting, isn't it? Once you sort of get your head around your light and your dark areas of your petals, and then you sort of, in your mind, have that little mantra of, okay, there's a lot of ink here on my pen or my paintbrush or my needle, let's go into the dark spots. Now we're getting lighter or less paint, or my thread is variegated and it's changing colour. Okay, so let's have a look at the beads and see if they're, this is an unusual colour, but I thought it might lift it. It's a bit red. Not a lover. This one's very matte. Let's have a look at him. Oh yeah, that works. Okay, so I need my thread. So I've got a couple options. We could stitch them into the center as a cluster, but I'm thinking it's getting a bit tight in there for space. And I think I'd rather the dark burgundy French knots down there. Maybe we just smatter them around. They don't connect to anything. Let's have a look at that idea. Smatter them. It's not even a word. All the beading people out there will be like, oh my goodness, that girl. She's a cowgirl. All right, one little bead by itself. Oh, yes, please. So this is just emphasizing the fact that there's little nodules of something happening in the center of these little flowers. It's putting a little sparkle in. So I'm going to do an anchoring stitch before I go to the next bead, because I'm working on linen. It's quite holy and loose weave. So I think a little anchoring stitch before I proceed with the next bead's probably a good idea. Please don't ring phone. Have I got it on silent? Is now. It's the doggy wash lady. She comes to do Pepper and Bandit. So she's just wanting to know if they're in or out. So I must not forget to reply, because they would love a wash. Not. They love getting wet and playing. And they used to like the previous lady, but they're a little bit funny with this lady. I just don't know. If I'm there, no problems. Everyone behaves themselves. If I'm not there, boy, they play up. The last time she had to carry Pepper like a baby in her arms, cradling her to the dog wash. It's one of those hydro bath things on the back of a trailer. Yeah, and I could see it on the camera because we were out. Oops, lost my bead. We were out for the day, and Pepper's like playing up like anything. Just wants cuddles and smooches. No going anywhere. You're here in my backyard, so let's just cuddle and smooch. So then she's like, come on, let's go. You know, she's got the lead on. Nope, she's not going. So she ends up picking her up like a baby in her arms and carrying her. And Pepper's licking her chin and, oh, this is great. I love it. So now Pepper thinks that she can get extra special cuddles as she gets carried like a baby. I tell you, once dogs work out what you will do for them, it's yeah, it can be quite challenging to pull that behaviour back. Little monkey. I'll be here for the next one, so there'll be none of that rot. She'll be like falling into line. And Bandit, well, he's different again. He hated it when he was younger, and we were very worried that we'd never get him into a hydro bath. He goes in now, no problems. He trots up with her. Got to be a few treats involved, mind you. Bribery gets that dog anywhere. But as soon as she turns off the tap, like that noise of the little motor ceases, he's out. So he like launches out, and if she forgets that and it catches her unawares, he just about strangles himself. He can't because it's a short line, but he's put so much into the leap. Oh my goodness, I tell you, it's like, okay, you're done, I'm gone. So he's tolerating it and participating, but the moment there's the hint that it's over, he lets himself out with a bounding leap. And it's like, dude, stop. So where's my little stitch to start? There it is. And then my bead. So I'm just going to work all the way around that little flower. I'm just scattering a few little beads, trying to keep it a bit random. Okay, I might leave it at that, but that's, yeah, that's how my flowers are going to come together, I think. Happy with them. Let's go play with some brown thread before we run out of time over on that stem. Okay, so they're the beads. Gee, I was really thinking they would not be the ones, but yeah, they're perfect. Okay, so we need some browns. There's no brown in there. Here they are. I'm thinking a really good chocolatey, dark. Like that one there. Yeah, 337, 500 might have been the old number. And then we probably need a bit of tone change. Maybe, no. If I go a pearl cotton, I'll get a bit of height to it. What's that? All right, let's do this one first because it's a thicker thread. I feel like it's going to sit well. What would be really cool, but boy, is some woven areas. You know, where we weave the thread a little. So how would we do it? We do that. I'm just going to have a little play. I just feel like I could weave. Some of them are quite big, like that one there, that one there. There's a bigger one further along. To have some woven areas would just give it a little bit of interest. Even if it stayed in the, what am I saying? I'm thinking I need a few stitches to weave within, so I've got to make sure I've got plenty of areas to weave through, so to speak. I just do that like that, and then put another one up here like that, and then a little one over here, I think. Then we'll start our weaving through the middle here, and that'll anchor. So over, turn it around so we don't split the thread. Over, under, over, and through. It'll be a bit tedious, but I think it'll give a really nice effect. I'll go to the top of that stitch. Use the blunt end girl. Over, under, over, under. It's such a small detail that no one will ever notice it's even there. You watch. They'll just see cherry blossoms. Under, over, under. We might as well have a play with different stitches. That's the whole aim of the game. So that'd be over, sorry, under, over, under. And then when I get up to the top there and I've only got 2, of course you need 3 to weave. We'll just have to do a few little stitches in there to make it look like it's woven. So it's a bit tricky when you get to the point. There we go, that'll work. And then come back up through. So that's the top. Now I'll just drop down the bottom here and pick up where we were. Use your blunt end girl. It's added a nice little husky texture to that side of that little bud. I really like it. Colour's good too. So we might have then a look at the dark chocolate thread. I bet we're getting close to time. Let's get a bit of this dark one. A little bit, that'll do. There's 2 strands. Might be not a bit too fine to be any. Let's go down onto the branch. Oops. Where it would join. So we might do like a bit of a nodule and just stitch in a few little stitches there to make it look like it's being cradled a little bit. Yeah. And then I might scoot up that outer edge there just to reinforce that there's a second shell or leaf, whatever that may be. And then I'll head back over to the other side and drift a few stitches up through this as well, just to blend it all in together. Make it look like it's connected. Yeah, there we go. I like that. Let's end that off. So it's like nearly the process of using your black pen, just a hint to reinforce some lines. And I guess too, I then need to have a look at whether this is the right colour, and I do some stitching, some shading with this. That'd be pretty, I think. We'll do that in another video. We'll work the stem, I think, but I'll work on the husky bits, the buds. I think that is going to be my colour. for the throat of the petal that is sitting just inside that little brown little husky shell. And then I can let the paint do its thing. So I'm just placing a few little stitches down in there to look like it's peeking out. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'll end that off. So I think I've got a bit of a plan now. Oops. Gosh, I did a knot and I created a loop. Oh, no, don't. Oh, the struggle, I tell you. Why? There we go, gotcha. Alrighty, so I'm pretty happy with the cherry blossom bud. Keeping it loose, keeping it just little stitches to highlight things. Yeah, really good. Oh, I've got a bit of time. We'll do the stem in the final video, I think, yeah, where we'll just work our way through, and I'll probably, because it's sort of a similar colour palette and we're just working across the whole piece, I might leave a couple blossoms or something that we can do together, but I think, yeah, I think I've got a bit of a plan now. I love that little woven. Yeah, it's nice. Be able to do that in a few spots. It'll just give a bit of a raised, textured feel about a bud it's nearly a leaf, isn't it? We did talk about leaves and whether they were worth having. I don't know. Could we do... Oh, that was close. That was a permanent pen. Oh my goodness. We want the iron-on one. Could we do a leaf? I wasn't going to, because I sort of felt like they were a bit of a non-event for cherry blossoms. There's hardly any. Maybe we could. I don't want it to be big brown blobs either, because the inspiration I took was that they were a brown tone. Now think about it. I already don't like that one. I think it's going to overpower that. I like that one. Maybe if I do a leaf, it's got to be in its own space, away from the pretty blossoms. So it's just subtle. Yeah, I don't like that one, but I like that one and that one. Okay, if I do leaves, let me get rid of that leaf. It's annoying me already. I'll just plug in my iron and we'll get rid of that leaf. So if I did a brown leaf, I could probably, so that they don't become big blobs like a woven husky thing, keep them as couched thread. So it's they're light, they're there. Like the stem is not going to be fully stitched in like a big brown stem. I want to keep it very ethereal like. So I'm wondering if I do some leaves in the chocolate, we couch it just so they're there but not there. We'll have a think about it. All right. In the meantime, I've just ruined this reel of brown thread. Oh my goodness. They're overfilled. So when I pick them up and touch them, a heap of it falls off the side. I'll hold it. All right, well, what I'll do is I'll grab a little tray. So we have our dark chocolate, Sue Spargo, there's our beads, colour palettes, really simple. And the brown. And we'll just get rid of him. If I did do a leaf there, he would need to have a bit of a stem, I think, then the leaf. So he's not encroaching on the flower. That's better. And subtle, really subtle. I don't even know if that's the right shape for a cherry blossom leaf, but I like it because it's not overpowering. Yeah, very good. Okay, I shall leave it at that. I've got plenty of homework to do. Actually, no, I'll leave it in the hoop because I'll probably be stitching in the next hour or so. There we go. All right, guys, have a lovely day. Enjoy your stitching if you are getting some stitching done. I hope so. Got to get some stitching in. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye. Hi guys, I'm back. I was just sitting here thinking about this little cotton reel. Now I'm not sure if you've seen the video yet or it's coming up. I just have lost track of where this cotton reel came out to play because it had some brown thread on it. I think it was, yeah, I'd say you've already seen it. And there was this wadding in there, which I pulled out and just threw away thinking, what has Grandma done? That's another little treasure inside a reel. I'm forever finding little messages, well, not messages, but stitch patterns and comments on something or a label inside reels, especially the crocheting reels. And this one came out, this little old girl, and she had some brown thread left, and I used it in a video and spotted this. Anyway, long story short is this little reel has been sitting on my desk, and there was a lovely lady commented, sorry I can't remember your name, that my grandmother would have put that piece of wadding in there. It was actual wadding, and she would have used it to put her needles in. And as I was packing up my project here and putting all my bits and bobs together, I saw this. So I put the wadding back in because I have wadding sitting beside me at the moment. So I've done the wadding back in. She only had it on the one side, but I've got two. And I'm just going to put the wadding again into this bottom piece. Now, the lovely lady that commented, gosh, I wish I could remember your name. I knew at the time when I read it, I was like, yes, I actually remember Grandma doing this. You know, when you're sitting around and you're discussing a pattern or how you wish to proceed and Grandma's fiddling, this is what she would be doing. Now, once the wadding's in there, it's quite solid, quite dense. And then she would fill it up and then use it to pop her needles in, and it holds it really well. Look at that. I just had this memory come back of Grandma doing that, but I didn't twig at the time that I pulled it out and I was on camera with you guys, and I'm like, oh gosh, another little Grandma treat. There's wadding in the top of a cotton reel. How cool is that? And that's the 2 needles I need for this. So instead of bringing this into the room, I've got it ready to go. with Grandma's little trick. There you go. Isn't that cute? Gosh, memory just flooded back to me. So I've reinstated the wadding. That's why I've come back to show you, and it's going to hold the 2 needles I need for my cherry blossoms. Anyway, long story short. All right, guys, I will say goodbye now. Pack up all my bits and bobs that I do not need. Gosh, how close did I come to drawing a leaf in with a permanent pen? Oh. All right, they're put away. Okay, guys, I'm saying goodbye this time. See you later. Bye.